I was standing next to the dessert table when my 13-year-old niece, Maya, unwrapped the plastic on the iPhone I got her. She giggled, her fingers soft, like the box might break if she pressed too hard. "Mom says if you disappeared tomorrow, no one would even notice," she said, all sugar-coated like it was a joke. But it landed with precision, quiet, sharp, made to sting. Laughter filled the living room. 30 voices, loose and careless. My sister Lena, Maya's mom, didn't even look up from her glass. She was reclined on the couch, legs crossed, smirking like she'd just pulled off the exact play she wanted. Mom was in the kitchen stirring something she'd never eat. She didn't say anything, just that slight lift of the shoulders I recognized. Her way of saying she approved. Dad, slumped in the old recliner by the patio doors, barely reacted. He raised his beer. "Well," he said with a chuckle, "she's not wrong. That's how my family hurts you. Not with screaming, but with smiles." Uncle Mike snorted into a napkin. Cousin Denise, who once borrowed money for emergency dental and never paid it back, clapped like Maya had just nailed a late-night comedy punchline. And me? I just stood there. I was the one who bought the phone. The one who paid the overdue tuition last fall when Lena forgot. The one who put everyone on my streaming account because Mom couldn't figure out the TV remote. I was the one who always showed up. And apparently, the one who wouldn't be missed. Maya looked up at me, still smiling. "Thanks for the phone, Aunt Tara." I swallowed and nodded. "My name is Tara Lane. I'm 36, old enough to know when a room stops making space for you, even when you're the one paying for the party." I didn't say a word. I took out my phone, 2 tabs, utility, off, streaming, canceled, shared phone plan, terminated, mortgage autopay, stop. Just like that, I disappeared. And it was the last free thing they ever got from me. I didn't stay for cake. They were lighting candles when I pulled my coat from the hook by the laundry room and stepped outside. No one followed. No one noticed. The cold snapped at my neck. January in Ohio can teach you the true sound of silence. The kind that slides between your collar and skin, makes you punch without thinking. I didn't go home. Not yet. I drove across town to my apartment, a 3rd-floor walk-up with awful insulation and no elevator. 7 years I'd lived there. Long enough for the floor to memorize my steps. But that night, it felt like a waiting room. Not mine. Not anymore. I took off my shoes. Not out of habit, but out of finality. No panic. No tears. I didn't pack like a woman in a movie. I made tea. Then I pulled an old black backpack from the closet, nylon worn at the seams, zipper stiff with dust, college relic. I filled it slowly, a folder with printed utility bills I'd paid. A thumb drive labeled Family Records, in my handwriting prepaid tuition slips from Maya's school, a photo of me and Grandma Rose, before her hands stopped working and folded in quarters, the quitclaim deed. Signed, notarized, transferring full ownership of Grandma's lake house to me. Dated 6 months before she died. They didn't know. Lena still talked like the house was hers. The kids love summers up there. We might remodel next year. I never corrected her. Back then, I thought letting them believe was easier. Now, the house was mine, and I was done explaining. I zipped the bag, set it by the door, packed a second one, light. Then I sat, listened to the fridge hum, the heater tick, nothing dramatic, just life. Softly closing the door behind me. At 2:13 a.m., I stood, slinging both bags over my shoulders. No note, no goodbye. I drove across the city in darkness. Their street was quiet, the kind of quiet money buys. I walked to my mother's porch like a thief. Only I wasn't stealing. I was returning what never belonged to them. I left the backpack by the stairs, where they'd definitely trip over it in the morning. Then I left. Really left. By the time they opened the backpack, I was already out of state, already on my way to reclaim the one thing they never knew they'd lost. They say systems don't break all at once. First slowly, then everything falls. By 7:41 a.m., Lena had already called my phone 4 times. By 8:12, Mom texted, "Something's wrong with the Wi-Fi. Can you check?" By 8:26, Dad's pharmacy app rejected his refill. By 9 a.m., the thermostat clicked to cold. I answered none of them. Instead, I sat in a cheap diner 2 towns away, sipping bitter coffee that tasted like rust and regret. Outside, the parking lot was still and gray. By noon, their silence cracked open. Another call. Lena again, from a different number this time. "Tara, what the hell is going on?" Mom's panicking. Dad's shouting, "The internet's gone. Maya has an online test and nothing works." I let it ring. Then came the message. "Is this your way of punishing us? Grow up." I smiled. Not because it was funny, but because for once, the panic was there. A language I'd spoken my whole life but never got to share. At 2:37 p.m., I got an email. Subject, auto payment canceled, mortgage overdue. They'd never seen that email before. I'd always forwarded it to myself. At 4:12, another message, this time from Mom. "Your father is very upset. I don't know what you're doing, but this family is falling apart." Falling apart. Now that was a bridge. She'd spent 20 years holding a wine glass tighter than she ever held my hand. Every time Lena dropped the ball, she'd say, "She's just figuring things out. You're the stable one, Tara. Thank God for you." It wasn't gratitude. It was delegation, and I was done accepting the job. By 6:45 p.m., someone knocked. 3 sharp, impatient hits on my apartment door. I didn't move. Again, fists this time. "Tara, open the damn door." My father. He hadn't been to my place in 5 years, not since I moved out to give Lena space after her divorce. I stood behind the door, silent as drywall. "You think you can just cut us off? You think this makes you strong?" The doorknob shook, then quiet. "We raised you. You owe us. You're not better than this family. You're just a bitter little girl with a paycheck." He waited. I waited longer. Eventually he muttered something, maybe a curse, maybe my name, and walked away, his steps slower than when he'd arrived. I sat back at the table, the same one I'd used for Thanksgiving dinner alone 2 years ago. "Just a smaller family thing this year," they'd said. "Just Lena and the kids." Funny how they only called it smaller when I wasn't there. I made pasta, opened a bottle of wine I'd been saving for no one in particular. By 10, Lena posted on Facebook, "Anyone else's utilities get hacked?" A cousin commented, "Isn't Tara the tech one? Maybe she can fix it below." No reply. The next morning, I woke to 26 missed calls. 7 from Mom, 9 from Lena, 3 from Maya, her first. The last one. "There's a black bag by the stairs. Was that you?" I didn't respond. Was the one who said if I disappeared, no one would notice. Now they couldn't stop looking. They opened it together. I wasn't there, but I know how it happened. It sat at the stairs for almost 2 days. They assumed it was something Maya left behind. Or maybe one of Lena's donation drops. Nobody thought of me. Not until the water shut off completely. Not until Lena's new husband had to shower at the gym because the pipes were ice. Then they opened it. Black nylon, faded, zipper rough and loud. The kind of thing you overlook in a closet for years thinking it holds nothing. Inside, I had packed everything they forgot to remember. The first thing my mother pulled out was a folder. Inside, PDF printouts of 4 years' worth of utility bills, each one marked with a yellow sticky note. Paid by T Lane. Electric, gas, internet, trash, cable, pest control. Next, my dad's pharmacy receipts, co-pays, delivery charges, emergency inhalers. I never told him I was the one resetting his account each time he forgot his password. He thought it just worked. No, Dad, I did. Then, 2 private school tuition slips. Maya's Fancy Arts Academy. Lena always claimed she had a scholarship. Partial, maybe, but the rest came from the same bank account they never bothered asking about. Tucked in the middle was a grocery list. Not mine, Mom's. Old, handwritten. On the back, I'd written, "Everything on here, paid. March 12th, 19." You told me not to tell Dad you forgot your card again. Then came the flash drive. Maybe they waited to open it. Maybe they thought it was a virus. But it wasn't. 4 folders. Audio, documents, screenshots. All labeled. 1 folder. Rose. Grandma Rose. I had saved every voicemail she ever left me. There weren't many. But the last one. Right before the stroke. Tara, honey. I signed the papers. The house is yours. I know they're not gonna like it. I don't care. You were the only one who showed up. Keep it quiet until you need it. Then she laughed, dry and raspy. Oh, they're gonna hate this. Good. Inside the same folder, a scanned PDF of the quitclaim deed, signed, notarized, filed. Full legal ownership of the lake house in my name. The one Lena redecorated last year without asking. The one Dad still called our family legacy. I imagine they sat still for a long time after that, because after all the bills, all the screenshots, all the proof that I'd been holding their lives together, there was one last thing. The photo. Faded, old. Me and Grandma Rose on the lake house porch suite. I was maybe 13. She was holding my hand. On the back, in a shaky blue hand, she was the only one who remembered my birthday. Tara deserves something that lasts. I wasn't there when they found it, but I hope they let it slip, because it was the only goodbye I ever gave, and it wasn't from them. It was from her. He texted me like nothing had happened. No apology, no context, just a single line. Section 112G, game night. Let's talk. I read it 3 times. He still thought this was a negotiation, but I said yes, because by now he had the background. He knew what was inside, or at least skimmed it. The stadium was packed, snow melted, mustard, steel. That echo of noise you get from people needing something to yell at. I spotted him fast. Gordon Lee, my father, sitting exactly where he said he'd be. Black backpack on his lap with a trophy for the morning. He looked smaller than I remembered. Older, like someone afraid of losing the version of the past he forced everyone to believe. I sat 2 seats away, not next to him, just close enough to make sure he knew I wasn't hiding. No clue, just a smug grin, like he was offering me a second chance. He tapped the bag, called it our little time bomb, said no one would believe some bills, a message from a dead woman, and a deed she probably didn't mean to sign. His voice was fast, lipped, like a man who knew the argument was already lost, but needed to say something to feel tall. I didn't say a word. He kept going, said I was cruel, that I embarrassed the family, that Maya was facing questions at school and Lena couldn't sleep. Then he asked, "What do you want?" I looked at him, then at the field, the popcorn sellers, the crowd, the screaming that didn't belong to either of us, and I said nothing, because he already knew the answer. He just didn't want to say it out loud. Control, narrative, image. But the thing about paper is, it doesn't lie the way people do. I stood up. He grabbed my sleeve, shook him off, not hard, just enough. Walked up a row, turned. He flinched like I might yell, but I didn't need to. "My name is Tara Lane," I said, loud enough for our section to hear. "And for 20 years I paid for this family to function. Not because they asked, but because they assumed I wouldn't say no." People turned. A woman whispered, "Isn't that the Lane girl?" I paid the power bills, the school fees, the hospital debt, the groceries, and when I stopped, they said I abandoned them. I held up the folder. The seal on the deed caught the light. Someone behind me snapped a photo. "This is the transfer deed to the Lane Lake House, signed by my grandmother, 6 months before she passed, because I was the only one who stayed when she couldn't walk anymore. Dad tried to say something. Legacy, misunderstanding, whatever. I cut him off. You always said I was lucky you raised me, but you didn't. I raised myself, and then I carried all of you." I stepped closer, dropped the folder at his feet. You don't have to like it, but you don't get to lie about it anymore. Then I turned, walked up the stairs, past strangers frozen in place. I didn't run. I didn't look back, because for the first time in my life, I wasn't walking away from a fight. I was walking out of the role they wrote for me and locking the door behind me.